Welcome to Reddit on Reddit by Half Pressed. He told me he followed me home. I'm very fortunate to live somewhere with beautiful walks nearby, so I get to get out and walk nearly every day. This place is also really safe, so it never crossed my mind that I'd be in the position I'm currently in. It started last year. I don't keep a routine, but like I said, I like to get out and walk most days. It was a beautiful day. The paths were busy with dog walkers and locals, so everyone was just enjoying the weather and the scenery. I took my time and didn't pay too much attention to anyone because, like I said, this is a super safe place. When I turned back for home, I was aware someone was walking behind me. Not that close, so I assumed that they were just heading back the same way as me. That's not unusual. It's a very popular path. When I got home, I took my shoes off in the usual place, which is positioned so that I can see through the kitchen window, which points the same way as the front door. I noticed there was a man looking through the kitchen window and really looking into my kitchen. Not a quick glance, a deep, taking in every detail kind of look. Then he moved away and knocked on my front door. Now, I do not open the door unless I'm expecting someone, and if it's just a parcel, there's a strong chance I'll just let them leave it in a safe place. I had planned on ignoring him, but he knocked harder and said something close to, "I saw you get home." That gave me the impression that he wasn't going away, so I opened the door a crack and kept my foot wedged so he couldn't open it any further. I'm a small woman, and he's over a foot taller than me. Strong, and gave me a serious, you need to run away from him kind of vibe. He was carrying a slow cooker box, which struck me as odd, but I figured he was just taking it to a neighbor. And then he said, "I followed you home from X." Just right out with it. He gave me some story about how his mother used to live next door, and he wanted to know how long I'd lived there. I told him he wants info on the neighbors on the side his mother supposedly lived in, and that my neighbors on the other side have lived there for 50 years and they'd be able to tell him everything. He was irritated by that answer and switched tack. Then he kept trying to invite himself in for a cup of tea, and I politely but firmly told him to leave and lock the door. I didn't go anywhere by myself for a couple of weeks and kept an eye out for him, but nothing. So I started going out by myself again. And there he was, this time riding a bike. I don't precisely remember all the times, but it was something like this. I was wandering near my favorite spot, and he rode his bike around me in a big circle 3 times. He just watched me. I gave him my best go rotten hell glare, and he left. But then he just kept popping up. The next time, I was on my way back from the shop, and he said, "Hi, it's such a nice evening." And then he used my legal name. I do not remember giving him my legal name, and he carried right on, so I don't know, it was just uncomfortable, but nothing totally horrendous. I'll note that he did pop up on all the different paths around here. And there were a few more instances like that. 6, maybe 7 times at a guess. Then I did something stupid, and I went against my gut. It had been a long week, and I was dying for a walk to clear my head. It was winter, pitch black outside, but I needed something small from the shop. My gut told me, don't do it. Don't go out. And I had this horrible feeling before I even got my shoes on. I ignored it and told myself I was just being stupid. It's a beautiful, safe area. I was just being anxious and ridiculous. I got to the shop fine. I hurried along and went to the place where he'd ridden circles around me, as it's the start of a loop that's short but beautiful, which was what I really needed. My gut kept telling me, it's bad, don't do it, get home. But I kept going. And then I was at the very darkest point, completely alone, and I saw a light coming towards me. A bike light. Of course, it was him. Now, I'll add at this point that I am very unflappable. I've been in bars and the like where guys got grabby. Guys much bigger than me were threatening violence and would try to steal from me. And every time I would square up to them and gave strong, try it, I dare you body language. They would curse me out and I would just leave completely unfazed. That night, though, I was seriously rattled. The vibes coming off this guy are bad. Really bad. So I was cornered. Nowhere to go but to finish the loop. He rode around me and settled in to ride next to me, where he mentioned my address, my legal name, my pets, and gave me some history of his life before he started pushing how lonely he was. So very lonely, won't I be his friend? He really, really wants me to go to his for a cup of tea. And then he casually mentioned how he'd watched me take my rubbish to the bins, which was something I had totally missed. I don't know how I didn't see him, but I hadn't. I told him that my husband was expecting me home, but he didn't believe I had a husband. I was polite, with minimal responses until he gave up and rode off, clearly irritated. I was really rattled. I rushed home and told my husband, who was surprised that it bothered me so much because of all the other stuff that I just mentioned above. He witnessed a lot of that and saw how unfazed I had been. We agreed that I wasn't going anywhere alone. And that was a few months ago. I said to my husband last week that now it's been a while and the paths are getting super busy again, and it might be safe for me to walk alone at peak busy period. Then, a few days ago, we were sitting on a bench enjoying the scenery when I felt this guy rock up. He stood about 20 feet away and just stared at us for a good 5 minutes. We didn't acknowledge him. We just felt it was better that way. Now, I should note that my husband is around 6'2". I mean, he looks rough and ready for a brawl. He'd take down anyone who worried me without a second thought, so I am really lucky like that. But obviously, we don't want to start a fight out of nowhere in public. We're not stupid. When the stalker guy rode off, my husband said to me that he understood what I've been talking about. The vibes from stalker guy are seriously creepy, and they even set my husband on edge. So that's how I returned to never leaving home.